It is currently Sunday, May 19, 2024. It's 8:45 in the morning. Excuse my voice, but I want to show you what is identifying the specific environment as I have referred to it. The specific environment is not the natural environment. It is an unnatural environment. It is a demonic environment. It is the identification of the crime scene where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. And where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, it is a system that's underway by a government that is corrupt because the government's engaging in what is criminal surveillance. The government is group stalking in the specific environment, and the government is not group stalking by itself. The government is group stalking in concert with everyone in that specific environment. As far as the eye can see, it's called relevant positioning, and they're all covered in the evidence of that criminal act. It is the engineered light. It is where the light source is present for the duration of the day. It is concerted presence with the government that uses specifically helicopters to engage in that criminal system. And this is all captured at Alvarado Gardens. So what I've showed you to and what I spoke to at length in my previous video, and which is why I'm not going to expound upon that in this one, because I've thoroughly explained, the ongoing criminal system remains underway. The elements of monitoring remain underway, while a public entity that's engaged in federal stalking in violation of Title 18, exhibiting malice, and presenting a threat to the public safety, while maintaining knowledge of the fact that its criminal activity is being documented, and it is known, and that government continues to engage in a highly demonic and malicious manner, where the light source is concealed. In other words, and where you are seeing the covered up light source, which is not the natural weather. This is real-time criminal conduct while you're looking at the unnatural environment. Okay. And that has been documented in the reverse, meaning in real time, the light source is covered up as I engage in something where the entity becomes hostile, more hostile, or as I engage in what is something new. I hop in my car, I drive somewhere. It's not a cloudy day anymore. The entity's light source is revealed. I move somewhere, I do something. The entity, in other words, the light source is at all moments, at any moment, present over my head. It's just covered up. That's called malice. It's not the natural environment. And that is already shown on its face because the specific environment consists of the light source present from the beginning to the end of the day. Where you've captured the specific environment, it does not cease to be the specific environment because that malicious entity that's engaged in federal stalking ceases to still engage in that criminal conduct while covering up the light source. Okay, so that is a malicious feat. Okay, that is showing an ongoing unlawful determination to obstruct justice, to terrorize the target individual, to threaten and intimidate as an entity, while engaging in federal stalking. That's all of that. It is under no circumstances contradicting the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is established in the specific environment. Nothing that the entity is doing can contradict the fact that you can, on your own, document the pattern of conduct. Nothing changes that. Okay, this is the delusion of an entity. You document the environment, you have documented the environment. Engaging in the same criminal activity in that environment where you're covering up the light source is not changing the fact that you have documented the environment, which is never naturally occurring, not even one time. Okay, so that understand that that's malice. So I am documenting, like I said in this video, and that's all the elaboration I'm going to go into because I have fully explained that. For purposes of this video, I want to show you the specific environment, an example of what I've already shown you. So we're going to look at the sunrise, as I've already documented. The last time I captured a sunrise at the specific environment where I now remain in Los Angeles County was May 6th. If I recollect correctly, because the entity has been engaged in a pattern of the same exact criminal activity while doing so while the light source is covered up, and then revealing, if at all revealing that light source at any point of the day, doing so, for example, at the end of the day, doing so in the middle of the day, but nonetheless revealing that light source, and it is always being revealed in alignment to me, which is at all times of the day, the specific environment. It never ceases to be that. That is documentation which is relevant for this public entity's federal prosecution for malice and impunity. Okay. It is a documented May 6, 2000. Again, this is relevant to what? There are multiple ways that you are analyzing the specific environment. It is identified through time of year, time of day. Okay. Juxtaposing with you could do time of year. You can also do any time of the year because what's the difference? You're talking about daylight savings time, give or take a year. You will never have a explanation by any expert that will rectify or rationalize the environment being captured, the sun over you at one address at 7:45 in the morning, and you're at the same address. We can take away an hour, let's say 7:44 to 5:39 p.m. That remains the specific environment. Okay. So like I said, there is no reconciling where you have documented the phenomenon. Okay. And you only have to capture the phenomenon one time. So, I captured the sunrise, and I put that in air quotes. The light source is present outside of my, in alignment to me. The entity is stalking in the path while the light source is in alignment to my living room window, to put it specifically. I'm capturing group stalking while the light source is in alignment to me at during the 7 o'clock hour. And this is captured on May 6, 2024. And that is relevant to the sunset where the light source is captured. That's not an actual sunset, but this is capturing the specific environment, which I also juxtaposed with what the entity was doing in Upland, California on this day in 2022. So I'm giving you multiple facets of documentation while I remain in LA. Okay, so at 6:39 p.m., 6 p.m., this is evidence on between May 6th, this is the same time of year analysis and time of day analysis, duration of time analysis, in addition to what is comparison of crime scenes, that which is occurring in Upland, California at the Upland Public Library. Okay. Under all circumstances, it's the P.O.C. And so this is what the entity is engaging in, and what you'll see while the entity is still engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, that is group stalking while the light source is covered up. I will remind you about the heavily documented stalking, conduct, and surveillance and terrorism by the demon-possessed workforce that are Dominic Choi's LAPD, stalking in helicopter, which is how these corrupt law enforcement agencies are practicing state surveillance in California. So I will show you first, which is establishing the P.O.C., establishing the specific environment where the P.O.C. is underway. And that is captured on video on 7 in the morning. This is captured at 7:18 in the morning is when this video captured. You could literally see it's a screen recording, so you can see the time at the beginning of the video. It's captured at starting at 7:18. It's a lengthy discussion, so this is why you see this time right here that I'm pressing on. It is 7:52 is when it ends. I started it at 7:18. So this is capturing the light source, and it remains there. It's not present at 7:44 in the morning, same time of year, over any bus, Route 83 going northbound up Euclid Avenue and up in California. Okay. It remains right there outside of my living room window, which is where it remained for the duration of the day till the end of the day, as I remain at the same property, documented May 6th. But this is duration of time analysis. So a sunrise captured at 7:18 in the morning. And then you have today, May 19, 2024, at the same property, the same apartment, and I'm looking at my bedroom window, and you're looking at the light source, and the entity is stalking in a helicopter in that video. This is the hallmark. This is the P.O.C. 7:18 a.m. and as I've already captured still images, which you'll see, this is just documentation showing what is the presence of the engineered. And if you'll recall, this is exactly what the entity is doing through my bedroom window on my bedroom wall, as though sunlight is ricocheting through my bedroom window where this so-called sunset, where the light source is supposed to create the appearance of the illusion of a sunset, and you're looking at engineered light that's magnified on my bedroom wall, growing, stretching across the carpet, and then moving up the bedroom wall. This is the same practice with this engineered light as documentation of terrorism via directed light. Under no circumstances is this the sun, it's a specific environment. I just want you to pay attention to the same pattern. This is the same method used in the evening. Right inside of my apartment, as you saw, remaining for the duration of the day, appearing. All right, this is 7:18 in the morning. They engaged in cross. So I want you to see the light objects. Side with what is showing it. Sorry, I went through a lot of material on this day. Them in such sex offenses, you are to the sense where the light source is on the opposite side of my apartment, so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so you saw that time right there. It's 7:29 in the morning. That's what my screen says. That's my home screen. 7:29. This is the light source outside of my living room window at 7:29 in the morning. I started this video at 7:18, I believe it said. The light source was still there. So just want to be clear, as early as I'll just use this because I have even earlier. This is how you are documenting what is the crime scene. It's not the natural environment under any circumstances. And so you can use the sunrise captured at 7:18. We can even go to 7:29. You will never have the natural environment. 7:29 in the morning until what I captured today, May 19, 2024. That's capturing the P.O.C. while the entity is going about the same criminal system, doing so under while trying to cover up the light source, because this entity is engaged. First of all, is demon possessed and is highly malicious and psychotic, and is engaging the same exact criminal activity while the light source is covered up, which is no evasion of the criminal pattern of conduct that is inevitably remaining underway. Okay. So
This is on the opposite side of my apartment, just like you see right now. Engineer light is covering building 1818. There's a pattern in the evening while the light source is setting on the west side of my apartment. Then this hillside is covered with engineer light. That's what the entity is doing on the opposite side of my apartment. And then throughout the day, maintaining this engineer light.
And what am I referencing? I'm referencing exactly what you saw this evening while LAPD was group stalking in helicopter, and that was captured. On more than one occasion. I'm going to use this video. That's engineer light.
LAPD's group stalking by helicopter right now. This is impossible light activity that has grown to be on my wall. And this is it, as you saw it underneath my bed moments ago. Okay, and they're amplifying and creating sensational activity of a helicopter while they're flying over my apartment. So I just want you to, I want to document that on video. And there they are, right?
And that's what I'm referencing. 7:30 in the morning, 7:29, 7:18 in the morning. This is the hillside. This is a method of stalking with engineer light. They are covered in the evidence of what is not sunlight, and also what is the unnatural environment. And it's the unnatural environment because they're not covered in sunlight as well, understand? But it's also not the natural environment because that's not the sun that will be there all day. It's not the natural environment because the sun is not going to create any sunlight on this hillside while it's over me at the Upland Public Library. This is why you document, and you can juxtapose the crime scenes as well. Under all circumstances, under any angle of analysis, it is documentation of what is a federal offense. They're engaged in group stalking by address, and they're covered in the evidence of it. And the entity is stalking a helicopter in this video.
And I want you to pay attention to the distance. First of all, this is the demon-possessed workforce that are the LAPD. They are surrounded by the evidence, and it's also evidence against all of the people of the state. You're looking at the engineered light that's covered.
And this is at 6, as you see, 6:36 is where this video is starting. And the entity is maintaining that light source while the light source is outside of my bedroom window, which is what I'm pointing to. I'm going to show you video of that light source. But this is the entity, the hallmark, at 6 in the evening. There's no sunlight that's going to be over the same hillside where you're looking at the sunrise at 7:19, 7:29 in the morning. That's not sunlight, and that's not any iteration of the natural environment. Okay? This is how you're surrounding a government, a very corrupt government that is showing an ongoing obsession because it cannot stop engaging in stalking. Okay, stalking is a form of domestic violence that's being perpetrated by a whole population, and it's being perpetrated against me. I'm a single woman who has committed no crime. They are exercising no lawful authority, they being the state. That's the same state that's living all around me on the hillside. They're in the shoes of the state. This is the state's criminal system. That's why the state is stalking in helicopters. The state thinks that it can hide amongst the people and that you'll never suspect that the government is keeping you under surveillance via them. Okay, that's why the environment is there, coating all of the property, filling my apartment with that which is not even sunlight. And this is duration of time, 7:29 in the morning, 6:30 in the evening, not the natural environment. This is the crime scene where the entity is engaged in state surveillance. In addition, I have the entity that is group stalking as I capture on video so you can see it. This is captured at 6:20 p.m. The entity is stalking by helicopter again. And that's the light source, okay? This is 6:20 p.m. The video ends at 6:33 p.m. There's that light source outside of my bed. This is the same apartment, okay? This is my bedroom window, 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the evening. This is my living room window, same apartment, 1806 North Alvarado Street in apartment number 6, facing the hillside at 7:29 in the morning. Okay, so let's count the time together. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 11 hours. Duration of time, that is to the exclusion that there's going to be any sun over Las Vegas, Nevada. over the state of Nevada, over anybody in Texas, over anybody in Arizona, over anybody in Florida, over anybody in New York, anybody in Missouri, anybody in Nebraska. Okay. It's not over anyone in Northern California. It's not over anybody in Sacramento. It's not over anybody in San Diego. It's literally remaining as a matter of duration of time based on this evidence from 7 in the morning, and it takes so long just to get over my apartment building where it's so close, it's still aiming light into my apartment, even though it is impossible light activity. You're going to prosecute for the criminal conduct of aiming that engineered light. This is that demonic, albeit unintelligent, imitation of the natural environment by virtue of that engineered light that's spreading across my carpet and rising, growing on my bedroom wall, which is the same pattern that you're looking at in the morning, stalking with engineered light inside on my living room walls, growing, spreading across the floor, where there is not possibly any sun, where it is documented over the Upland Public Library, as I'm showing you at 7:44 in the morning, as I'm still there walking out at 6:39 in the evening, and at the entity is maintaining group stalking by the corrupt agency, the LAPD, exhibiting the same malice, stalking by helicopter while the light source is covered up, supplementing the audible activity, the elements of monitoring through the use of a demon operating an ambulance, and the people of the state in traffic monitoring and walking all around me, crossing path. That's the elements of monitoring underway while they're trying to still engage in what is group stalking, engaging in terrorism, stalking by helicopters, pacing all around. The demonic ambush is terrorism. This is what they're doing on an ongoing basis. Ongoing basis. The entity is engaging in this with knowledge of the fact that you're documenting the light source, which is not the sun. Okay, and so while I've captured this, this is no removal from the pattern of conduct. I also want you to see, again, I've got more, just really quick, documenting under the light source where, and this is why, okay, you're not forgetting what was already captured. The entity is maintaining the light source over me, for example, at 8:30 in the morning. So let's look at the light source and same time.
484 molest with directed light. They're all monitoring.
Okay, I'm directly beside the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and this is the San Bernardino County Building, 150 East Holt Boulevard. I am here in the morning. I'm here in the evening. The light source is still at the same position, but nonetheless, I'm juxtaposing this right now with LA. All right, at the specific environment where there is no sun, there's no light source, there's no sun that's sharing the sky space where I'm at in Ontario at Euclid Avenue, Holt Boulevard. At 8:30 in the morning, the light source is hovering directly over me while I am at this time of year, during this time, remaining in Ontario, California, and this is 8:30 in the morning. And who is group stalking?
Keeping over me from the museum. 8YHG484 molest with directed light. That's directed light. That is a demon. These are the ones engaging in criminal summoning. That's directed light by the number 1855A. That's engineer light by that demon's window, touching on the face of the vehicle, while he's looking the opposite direction, engaging in the P.O.C. That's vehicle again, 1855A. 3:55 p.m. on this side of the street where the Ontario police are group stalking. That's vehicle 1855A.
All right, the Ontario police, I'm pointing out the state engaging in group stalking. That's the state acting directly. Everybody else in traffic is group stalking as well. I'm pointing out the stalking conduct of the state that engages in group stalking with the people in the same exact environment, which is a scientific impossibility. Speaking to everyone's condition, everybody that's engaging in the elements. And that's what you're doing. You're not driving in traffic. You're crossing path, creating light activity and audible activity. And they're all demons doing so. And they're all stalking together while wanting to appear on the outside, on the external, as engaging in what is life as usual. There's nothing usual about or normal about this environment when you are aware of it. Okay? This is the same location where I'm present, like I stated, at the end of the day, while the entity is stalking all day by police using helicopters as well. This is what's juxtaposed with what the entity is doing in LA, okay? Doing so while aware of the fact that it's being documented, it being the entity, and then engaging in what is the same exact heavy-duty stalking while wanting to cover up the light source while still stalking in a helicopter, still engaging in surveillance, still engaging in demonic behavioral pattern, the demonic elements of monitoring. So let's just juxtapose that with 8:30 on May 6, 2024. Same time of year analysis is underway, May 6th versus May 10th, okay? And just so that you can understand how you are identifying and how you are under no circumstance escaping a prosecution. In fact, I'm going to use your psychotic purpose, your psychotic effort to do so, being the same exact demon-possessed stalker while the light source is being so-called hidden and it's still in that same position, capable of being present any day, any move that I make, okay, the light source is bound to be there at the drop of a dime. It's not the actual natural weather, okay? In the same way, that's not natural light that's appearing and disappearing as I start capturing video of it. It's not the natural environment as that light source is over my head. Okay, so on May 6, 2024 at 8:30, the same time, where's the light source?
All right, just capturing the maintenance of impossible light for what is massive surveillance that I'm subject to as I'm walking around on the property. This is multiple shadows I have. They're magnified in size. They're upright, and this is the concentrated light. This is what you're looking at inside my apartment. You have all of an entity, including Carla Lopez, who was crossing paths monitoring.
That's the light source right there. That is not over 150 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. All right.
Including Carla.
That is not shared with what's over 150 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. And this is the malicious engagement in that criminal system. You're not supposed to suspect it. You're not supposed to notice it. You're not supposed to question it. You're not supposed to know what this demon walking over here is doing. He's a demon-possessed third-party group stalker that works for a third-party company that's exercising no constitutional or individual privacy rights. He's engaging in a state system of surveillance and doing so under the malicious guise of being a co-worker while state surveillance is underway, and knowingly doing so, acting in concert on a consistent basis in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency, the demon possessed workforce that are the LAPD, stalking and terrorizing using helicopters at this specific environment, which is recognizable by the presence of this light source. And you just saw the so-called sunset outside of my bedroom window today after 6:30 p.m. Also juxtaposing that with what you see over me in an entirely different region at the same time. This is 8:30 in the morning. That's the pattern of conduct. This is why you are understanding while the entity is stalking, obsessively stalking, under the light source where, on an ongoing basis, you've documented, you've already captured the P.O.C. And that is why you are understanding what is the delusional psychopath who reasons in its mind, in its demon-possessed, this psychotic mindset. I will go ahead and I'm going to go kill more people because I cannot stop. I have this ongoing compulsion to kill, and I have to kill more. I know my fingerprints are on that knife. And I know that that's evidence, but if I go about killing more people, regardless of the fact that my fingerprints are on that knife that was left at the crime scene, and the victim wrote out a note before they died, the fact that I actually killed them, I'm still going to go kill other people because that's going to throw them off the trail of convicting me, because even though my fingerprints are on the knife, even though the victim was able to write out my name as a part of their dying declaration before they died, okay? I've been fully identified. The evidence of what I'm doing is already present, already within in existence, but I'm going to go about, I reason in my mind, I'm going to go kill more people because in my mind I have to go do more. Perhaps I can't help myself but go do more damage, do more crimes, commit more harms to other people, and somehow that's going to help me avoid justice. That is the demented mind state of a psychopath that poses a public safety concern, and that mindset literally fills the corrupt law enforcement agency that are the demon-possessed Los Angeles Police Department. And you know that because of their ongoing engagement in the pattern of conduct. That's delusional to engage in this ongoing criminal conduct. You are no ordinary stalker. Do you not understand? You are a police department engaging in criminal activity to the highest extent. You are threatening the life, engaging in that which is unheard of, unfathomable, unthinkable, and you are doing so, and you know you're being documented. You know that your predecessors were being documented. You've engaged in trying to kidnap and defame me before. This is the same entity. LAPD is not distinct. This is the same state. You've done this before. You see the evidence, and yet you continue to go around trying to murder people while your fingerprints and your name is already identified on the evidence. And you're assuming that they're not already aware of where you're going and who you're about to go murder next. You're assuming all of that. You're assuming that. You're assuming that they're not already on your tail, that they're not already aware of where you're going and what you're doing as you're doing it. You're assuming all of that, by the way. So this is the mindset of that demonic entity. That's a psychopath. That is a threat to the American citizens in this country. That's a threat to our lives. That's exhibiting obsession. So I want to show you that. And while the entity is exhibiting malice, because that's what that is when you're looking at the light source that's covered up, still engaging what is stalking in the path, maintaining presence in my path. I walk or I go anywhere, there's a demon in the path with some form of light activity. That's what they're doing, driving onto the property, maintaining presence. Group stalking in the laundry room, somebody that's in the path for presence of crossing path as I walk to my office. The entity is maintaining presence as I walk around from my office.
This is
To the laundry room. I engage in any movement. You've got a demon that's present for crossing a path and light activity. And this is a company, Nova Contractors, who's going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted. And these particular actors are going to federal prison. And then I suspect they're not even natural born citizens. They're going on the first thing smoking out of this country after they sit in federal prison. All right, because they're not welcome in this country. All right, the entity engage, and why? Because you're engaging in terrorism. That's why. You don't get to stay in this country when you've been granted the privilege, and then you're violating the rights of an American citizen like myself, or the American citizens that have a right to not be subject to that. And there is no corrupt government that will protect you or can protect you from that prosecution, which is justice. Nobody can save you. No one. So the entity is engaging in what is group stalking in concert with the corrupt law enforcement agency. So I want you to see this. While the light source is covered up, the same exact group stalking conduct. Carla Lopez, a demon-possessed third-party group stalker. This is prosecution of speaker companies. The light source is covered up. Nonetheless, the light source is still there. It's 8:39 in the morning, people. I just showed you video of the light source that's over me at the same time, at the same property at 8:30 in the morning. May 6, 2024. Nobody has forgotten that. No federal court is going to remove that from the body of evidence. No one's going to state, nor reasonably can you, nor is there any such a thing when you are prosecuting stalking and establishing the pattern of conduct. This just so happens to be the pattern of conduct by a corrupt government that is the stalker. A very highly malicious one. I'm showing you how this malice is identified, how you see it, because it's hidden in plain sight. They're demons, and the entity is in an unnatural environment, stalking with the maintenance of all the elements of monitoring in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency that's stalking in helicopter in this video.
helicopter activity as Carla Lopez.
This is crossing a path in a vehicle, light activity in the path, literally tracking my steps, not just coincidentally arriving at the job on time. Okay, this is a demon that's tracking my steps, knows exactly where I'm at, and is strategic with regard to placement and light activity in concert with that entity that's doing laps around me in a helicopter.
Has arrived, crossing path, light activity, federal prison, P.O.C. That's Nova.
It is already the specific environment because I've already shown you the duration of time. 7:29 in the morning until after 6:30 p.m. This is all times the pattern of conduct. It is at all times the crime scene. It is at all times evidence against Lucy Santos, who's documented as engaging with a state terrorism, living at a crime scene, and no evasion of evidence on video covering up the light source is any sort of deviation from that. Okay, your work schedule is legally irrelevant. Okay, the entity is engaging with exhibiting demon possession while you're looking at the same maintenance of an environment. A demon arriving in the path with some method of light, they're showing you that they're demons and they're stalking. As demonic as the light source being over me, and they're moving, crawling all around in the engineered light. The environment is still engineered while the light source is covered up. So this is not just normal brake lights, headlights. This is an engineered environment where they're crossing path with the use of headlights and brake lights and whatnot, hazard lights. It's an engineered environment. This is why I can walk outside at night and it looks like there's a gang surrounding me. My shadow surrounds me. Multiple shadows around me. They're not exercising. They're demons and they're pacing all around, and they're violent sex offenders while I'm inside of my apartment. They're engaging in the perpetual sex offense. All right. So this is LAPD.
Contractors. Good morning. This is a psychopath. He's going to federal prison. I need you to look at this. I'll be right with you, Carlo. I'm on the phone right now. He's monitoring. All right, simultaneity as I'm Nova Contractors, those two non-English speaking.
So you're understanding the teamwork of surrounding me while I'm walking around the building. Nova Contractors crossing path, that simultaneity of conduct. I mean, they're right there as soon as I walk around the building. That's not a coincidence. This is what the entity is doing at all times. These are demons that are engaging in literally lying in wait conduct. How do you engage in that presence? So this is where you're analyzing. Man, this is a psychotic demon-possessed entity that knows what you're doing as you're doing it. You also see that secret is also revealed to you through the light activity conduct. The light on my ceiling, that lets you know that they're demons and they know exactly where I'm at. That's how you know that. not through a psychopath that keeps their back to you, that's talking about, oh my gosh, how was your day? God bless you. Oh my goodness, I love your hair. That's audible activity. That's a psychopath that's monitoring you. And that's a threat to your life. The threat to your life is analyzed through the specific environment and the audible activity that they're creating, not the substance of that audible activity. It does become relevant when they want to make threats to your physical safety. It's relevant when they want to speak aggressively towards you, when you're already a demon-possessed third-party group stalker speaking on behalf of the state. That's why these demons have to watch their mouth. If you want to make a threat, understand all of the entity is making a threat. You want to engage in physical violence, all the entity just engaged in an act of violence against you, and you are going to federal prison for that. The government has no right to put its hands on you. The government has no rights to stalk you. The government has no rights to place you under surveillance. The government has no right to engage in terrorism while the entities surround you in the way that you've seen in this video, because that's what you're looking at.
Been given the privilege to be in this country. They're out of this country, as are every other third party that lives at the venue.
All right, but it's not just that. What is it? What is the demon-possessed workforce provided? An ongoing wealth of documentation, obsessively stalking repeatedly in helicopter. So we've got multiple videos as I captured. The entity is group stalking. These are demons that are surrounding me and they're talking. So this is why I capture videos so you can see them. They're psychopaths. Everything that they're doing is about me. They're monitoring, but they're outward, the surface of their conversation. Oh, why don't you come back on Monday? And it's audible activity. LAPD is monitoring in concert with them, and they're demons that are doing so, and they're doing so maliciously because I've captured them group stalking with engineered light under a light source. So they're doing the exact same thing while they are maintaining light and audible activity in the same engineered environment while the light source is covered up. That is the definition of a psychopath. Okay?
The entity is amplifying plane activity, and I'm going to let you know what's actually going on. Besides the P.O.C., this is monitoring.
Stalking repeatedly by helicopter in the same exact specific environment. Covering up the light source is no removal from the same exact crime scene. The entity is stalking by helicopter, engaging in group stalking, not by itself. While you're looking at stalking in helicopter, it's telling on everyone because the entity is group stalking in concert with the people.
And what I just took images of Kum Lee group stalking in the laundry room, just like Joan Kim was this morning, and Beatrice Toledo. And so as I'm capturing that documentation, the entity is engaging in what it is doing while the people of the state are using.
Nobody is forgetting while I'm capturing ongoing stalking by helicopter.
All right, helicopter activity begins as I navigate to U Kim, who I'm going to document right now. This is 1121, simultaneity of activity creation. This is demonic activity, and it's under the creation of what is LAPD, stalking by helicopter, okay? Monitoring on the internet with the people of the state and in concert with U Kim, who's going to federal prison and then is going to be deported. Okay, this is P.O.C.
This is the simultaneity with which the entity that's heavily engaged in surveillance, your every move, any and everything that you're doing, the creation of audible activity that is engaging in the criminal element of monitoring, audible activity creation, which serves to monitor you specifically by helicopter. This is the admission by the entity against the people of the state who is group stalking in concert with those people in that specific environment, which is already established and is not changing. It's not contradicted. It's not erased. It's not forgotten while the light source is being covered up. Okay, this is the same location where the phenomenon occurred as I document May 6, 2024, and the sunset that I have today that I documented on May 19, 2024. This is the entity engaging in criminal activity while the light source is covered up, and it's revealing the light source at some later hour. No one's forgetting what was already documented. This is the delusional psychopath that's going around murdering people and thinking only thing that I can do so that I can continue murdering people, I have to go kill more people because my fingerprints are there and the target individual named me before they died, but I'm going to go kill more people because that's going to help make it look like it's not me, make it look like the target individual doesn't know what they're talking about when they wrote my name down and my fingerprints are on the knife. Okay, that makes absolutely no sense. That's literally what this entity is doing. That's literally what a whole police department is doing. And they're not the only idiots. I have documented multiple police departments engaging in that same psychotic pattern, showing the obsession. What is their obsession born of? These are demons. This is a demon-possessed workforce, and it's the LAPD. It's the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. It's the Ontario Police Department, the Fontana Police Department, the Upland Police Department. Okay, the San Bernardino Police Department, the Montclair Police Department, the Chino Police Department. The only police department that I did not capture on video stalking in a helicopter was the Chino Police Department. And that's because I did not go to Chino like every day. But the entity engages in what is the pattern of increasing aggression. The more that I document, the more that I'm present. Okay. And that's because they're hostile. The mindset behind that is stay out of my city, get out of here, stop documenting. That's what these demons are basically saying. And while they continue to do that, I capture more and more video. That's what I did. So I'm going to let you know that's the only police department that I did not capture in helicopter. They're fully prosecuted and fully engaged in the P.O.C. as I documented the sunset, and those demons of the Chino Police Department are crossing path, driving an engineered light while the light source is in alignment to me, which is under no circumstances in alignment to me through my bedroom window in Los Angeles, California. Okay, there's no sun that's going to be in Chino while the light source, the sun supposedly is present from the beginning to the end of the day. But that's not even how the analysis starts, because the sun is remaining over me in Chino, California. There's never going to be a sun over me in alignment to me rising at any point of day and setting in Los Angeles, because I was there before I came here. That's how that goes, but it's mutually exclusive. So I just want to point that out to you. And what is the entity doing? Maintaining helicopter activity, just having a good old time, just group stalking, just providing ongoing evidence against everybody. Teresa Becerra is going to federal prison. This video, the entity is just flying repeatedly over, sounding sirens repeatedly, sounding like there's a war going on. This is terrorism in the workplace, while the entity is literally flying over my office repeatedly. And this communication device, which is this cell phone, it's internet operated. This is federal stalking by the entity who is engaging in audible activity. They're group stalking while they're on a communication device. The entity is physically surrounding, including directly in helicopter. This is federal stalking and group stalking by Teresa Becerra and Maria Solis Alvarez, which is documentation of speaker companies. And Teresa Becerra is in official role. She's acting as an officer of the court while she's group stalking her own client. All right, she's inherently conflicted. She's violating attorney-client privilege. I gave this analysis in real time while I was documenting it, but this is just speaking to what Good Law, that law office at 10 o'clock in the morning on May 19, 2022 is engaging in their group stalking while the light source is over my head. Yes, attorneys in the state are monitoring. They serve to engage in kidnapping. That's what the PD and the DA at the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court are documenting engaging in, and everybody having anything to do with that. And it's not going to be a mystery. The federal government will get every single detail related to it because they're all going to serve time in federal prison for it. It is intolerable. Any matter of corruption, in this country, they better clean it up before it's investigated and found out. But you can't clean up that which you already did. I mean, from here on out, I suggest you clean it up, because when it's found out, everybody's going to federal prison. Every single aspect, anybody that had any hands on it, because terrorism and kidnapping in this manner by a corrupt government, it is intolerable. Okay, so this is the entity stalking by helicopter. I just want you to see one time, because on this video, I captured it multiple times. I stepped out of my office and captured them stalking by helicopter.
Can you repeat that question? Jocelyn comes all the way over to the opposite side.
Daughter Jacqueline came down the street.
Now they're amplifying inside of my office while they're at this distance. Targeting in the specific environment. This is the address where the sunrise and the sunset is. Covering up the light source is not changing that it's the pattern of conduct, that it's the specific environment. That's exhibiting malice, while the same exact stalking by the state using helicopters is underway.
And I want to know from where? Where was she?
This is a demon-possessed entity that's asking me questions that they already know the answer to. I'm going to prosecute for that harassment by the entity that's terrorizing in a helicopter and at the same time asking me questions that you already know the answer to. I'm going to prosecute for that.
The entrance of the property, and they're talking. You know the fork at the entrance. I go down
in real time while I type out documentation about her. The entity flies over my office. This is federal stalking. They're monitoring on communication devices on the venue of the internet. Not only group stalking, engaged in federal stalking, while covering up the light source because they're engaged in federal stalking. They know exactly what's being documented about them.
You can see a third young female, likely another.
And so does Teresa Becerra. Don't let her continued engagement in what is conversation fool you. It's audible activity creation. And this is a demon. And this is the entity. They know what I'm typing. They know exactly what's being said about her. This is a psychopath that has to continue feigning ignorance. But she's monitoring in real time maliciously. She's also monitoring in concert, showing hostility while LAPD flies over my office. This is the reality of what the demonic entity is doing together at once. Okay?
Daughter walking towards the sidewalk entrance of the property, the sidewalk / entrance of the property, from inside the property entrance, in the direction of the car that was parked in the fire. And as you approach the entrance and tap, she started yelling and cussing.
correct.
pass them all and you go to your apartment.
Correct. And they all remain to my right as I walk.
Right.
And then they're hostile to my stating that your father just attacked me.
This conversation is audible activity. My light is on in my office. The elements are monitoring are present. But they're also pacing all around in helicopter. The people in the state are pacing around on Alvarado, on the roads and the highways, on up the hillside. Just like you've seen impossible light activity on the gate, the wooden gate of 1826 Lobdell. Those demons are pacing all around in traffic. It's light activity audible. They're monitoring all around. The environment still is present. Okay? All the entity is doing is, while I've shown you the light source, which is how you are able to see it very easily under the circumstances of what's not the sun, the entity covers up the light source and is still engaging in that criminal conduct, which shall be prosecuted as the high level of malice that a corrupt government exhibits when it's group stalking you.
Based on what you just said.
I want you to see one more helicopter fly over my office. As I say, LAPD does circles laps repeatedly over my office. Amplified helicopter activity. That's aggression while the entity is monitoring what I'm doing online. That's federal stalking Title 18 criminal conduct. Okay? And this is also occurring in the workplace. And let me be clear, this demon, going by the name of Teresa Becerra, acting in official capacity as an officer of the court, she also knows what I'm stating on the internet. She's the same entity.
Flying directly over while they're monitoring what I'm typing about Teresa Becerra, who's going to
A very highly passive-aggressive and psychotic entity.
Prison. P.O.C. This is ongoing evidence against the entity. The entities, again, this demon-possessed and corrupt entity engages more of it to try to suggest that it has nothing to do.
So I want to be clear. This is the same environment where the light source is present for the duration of the day. And you're looking at the evidence of that while the entity is still stalking in helicopters in concert with the people of the state. And so I just wanted to give you that example. And this is, again, both asininity. It's absolute lunacy. It is idiotic. Okay. It's showing very, oh my goodness, disgusting level of being despicable, but it is something that I want to make sure that I spell out and I am remarkably clear. That is malice, and it does not get any more vicious than that. Okay, the entity is doing so in the specific environment where there is no sun that's at the same time over me at 150 East Holt Boulevard at 8:30 in the morning, same time of year, while it's remaining over me while I am at the same address. So let's look again, 8:30. I have more than 8:30, but let me see. What folder am I in right now? This is... Yeah, so let's go back to that one so I can tell you what I was going to tell you, and then now I'm going to tell you what I told you, okay? 8:30.
All right, just capture multiple shadows.
That's engineered
and this
light.
is the concentrated light. This is what you're looking at inside my apartment. You have all of an entity, including Carla.
All right, 8:30 in the morning. The light source remains here. This is the same environment. You're not forgetting this when the entity is still stalking in a helicopter. So you're covering up your light source and you're still engaging in the same exact criminal activity while the entity is still engaged. The elements of monitoring remain present. I've shown you the methods. Not only does the helicopter create light activity, all of the people of the state are pacing all around. Traffic is a very systematic means of light activity using their vehicles in the engineered environment. The entity uses, for example, dumpster trucks. The entity engages in what is construction. So what you'll see is working on the roads, on the main roads, they're creating light activity in relevant position. That is something that I cannot see. I'm not going to go out and chase that. I've already shown you the pattern of conduct. These are the things that they're engaging in that are surrounding me. I've already said, but like I said, this is malice. And there is, by the way, no reasonable basis to contend that covering up the light source is grounds of saying, oh, they're not group stalking. They're clearly stalking in a helicopter. On its face, it's probable cause for the federal government to prosecute, to investigate. Probable cause on its face. 25 times, 25 to 30 times I'm documenting. on its face, what LAPD is doing, no police department is going to be able to engage in anymore. And it is probable cause. It does present probable cause for investigation for federal group stalking and monitoring. But no police department has any discretion to engage in what is a public nuisance on its face without answering any questions, having this sort of freedom to engage in operating whatever sort of program or study or exercise and public safety that we feel that we need to exercise. No, they don't have that sort of discretion. That's no more. You're seeing how it's capable of being abused to the demise of an American citizen who's under surveillance. And this is providing the support for exactly what it is that I am advocating. And why? Because of the P.O.C. All right. So I want to make sure that you understand that they very well have to answer questions. And I want to be clear. Let me be clear. You're talking about the level of malice. It's not enough to hold some sort of accountability that's going to be based on the people of the state. They're the ones that are going to be creating questions in the city hall. The people of the state are the ones that are assembling in the city hall, supposedly engaged in what is the same exact criminal system. Okay, it's analogous to what you're looking at on the news. The people of the state are the ones that are organizing outside against the corrupt entity, the law enforcement agency in P.O.C. in Orange County, Irvine. They're monitoring together. The light source is over them. It's the same pet. You're looking at them. Okay, well, then we'll create a system of accountability amongst the American citizens, amongst the people of the state want to blend in amongst American citizens that are not demon possessed, that are not group stalking. They're the ones that the corrupt entity rely on. It is not enough. It requires federal involvement, period. Because of this corruption. It's not enough. The people of the state cannot be trusted. Okay, they are maintaining and engaging in corruption together with the corrupt entity. They are the corrupt entity. It's not enough to leave it in the hands of American citizens. Their American citizens' rights are, I don't want to say American citizens, and the American citizens are surrounded by the people of the state. Okay, we're in the same environment, the specific environment. And so because of this, obviously not everybody in the state of California can go to federal prison, nor should that be the answer. That's not what I'm advocating. But you engage in kidnapping, you put your hands on and you're doing that. Everybody's going to federal prison for those things. Everybody. Okay, there are things that will not be tolerated. But with regard to, you can't just put everybody in the state in federal prison for federal group stalking and monitoring. You can't, and it's not feasible. But you're understanding, okay, the problem that's been revealed. And so accordingly, the American citizens, because you're surrounded by the people of the state as well, this is corruption that you are aware that's present. And it requires the people of the state. The people of the state are the ones that are stating, oh my goodness, I don't feel safe. Everyone should be forced to get a COVID shot in order to protect my safety. It's the people of the state that are opposing that. And I want to be clear, I'm not going to debate with this, but you can listen or not. There are people that are dying in this country, and they called it COVID, and it was not necessarily COVID. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say. The presence of this demonic activity, I'm letting you know about. There is more that's occurring than what you see on the surface. The people of the state are the ones that are presenting, again, the support whereby the entity wants to establish laws and change the Constitution, create policies that are impeding on your constitutional right to not have an injection in your body. And how are they getting that support? They need the people of the state to create a foundational basis whereby, it's for the public safety concern. And because of this public safety that supersedes your First Amendment rights, your privacy rights, we have a right to make you get this vaccine. We have a right to limit what you can buy at the grocery store. And we're going to enforce it through the use of the bazookas and the helicopters and the armored tanks that we're using. This is what is ahead. Okay. And that's just like a little snippet. That's just off the brain. Okay. Okay. So I'm just letting you know, these are the inherent risks to this public corruption that's being exposed. Those are inherent risks. This corruption is not just with the government. The government is acting in concert with the people. The people are amongst the population of the American citizens. I'm making a distinction between the demon-possessed population and the American citizen that is not of that condition. People like myself, who are not group stalkers, who are not psychopaths, ticking time bombs at any moment during the perfect storm to engage in walking into an office and killing everybody in that office. Okay, throwing their children off of a bridge, and they don't even have a criminal record. There's nothing that would, under any circumstances, beyond understanding what is demonic activity in the demon possessed population, there's no hint to give you any notion that they're a risk, that there's a danger there. This is an entity, and these are the type of things that are occurring. You're seeing it on the news, and you don't have the added context about actually what surrounds you and how one day it may just act out outside of any hints. No hint, no warning, no nothing. Okay, so anyway, so this is the specific environment. I'm going to digress from that. This is the specific environment that is maintaining the environment at 8:39 in the morning. So the entity stalking by helicopter, where you're looking at Carlo Lopez driving up, crossing in the path with light activity is what he's doing at 8:39 in the morning. And the entity is stalking by helicopter. So on this day where the light source is present at the same time, 8:39 in the morning, what do you see?
All right, on cue, waiting for me to walk out. This is called audible activity. This is called group stalking in the path in the engineer light, monitoring with audible activity, going to federal prison, living at the crime scene. All right, that's 1804.
This is called crossing a path with a vehicle. This is called light activity with the vehicle. This is called audible activity with the vehicle, both under the light source and while the light source is covered up. This is what you saw Access engaging in on, I believe that was Friday, while the light source is covered up. The entity engaged in amplification via airplane. You saw the distance of that airplane while I was inside of my office. It's impossible that I could hear that airplane from that distance. That's how you're recognizing group stalking. It's targeting through the audible activity. That's how you're recognizing it, through the environment, not just what you can see, what you can hear. And everybody that's in that environment in relevant position is group stalking together. In addition, that's analysis of that. You're also not forgetting the environment that you've already captured with the light source. Nobody's forgetting what was already present over the same exact apartment complex. The same exact time, if you want to see it, 8:39 in the morning. This is P.O.C.
Number 4, this is under the light source in concert with the state. This is P.O.C.
And then the people of the state are demonstrating the fact that it is indeed a system, and it's not some idiosyncratic thing that's individualized and Lucy Santos is out of it because she's at work. No, Lucy Santos is being documented as a group stalker living at a crime scene while Center for Better Life comes onto the property to engage in a criminal act in concert with the corrupt government. And you are seeing that while activity is being created, while that light source is over me, while the entity is then crossing path, this demon drives this vehicle and engineer light moves all across the apartment building. Lucy Santos is still being documented. Your work schedule is legally irrelevant. Okay?
Now how he's focused on me, and I'm not talking to him. This is the pattern of conduct. This is somebody that's threatening your life. Impossible light moving all across the apartment building. All right, that's P.O.C. That's L.A. County engaging, coming on.
That's engineer light that's moving across the building while the entity is driving off of the property at 8:30 in the morning. First of all, that's impossible light activity. That's the admission of a group stalker. That's speaking to a system, not just that person group stalking. That's not how group stalking works. That's why you have a whole environment surrounding the property, and that environment remains for the duration of the day. That's how I get a sunset through my bedroom window after 6:30. Okay, this is speaking to a population that's engaging in group stalking with that corrupt entity that uses helicopters. Doing so while the light source is covered up is called malice, and Teresa Becerra is going to federal prison. Okay, I want to make sure it's currently 9:37 p.m. I wanted you to see that. I want to make sure that you are understanding what is no distinction of the specific environment while the entity, which is highly malicious, is exhibiting malice through the same criminal system that's underway. The hallmark, stalking in helicopters, and then doing so while the light source is then covered up. Okay. It's also not the natural environment. The light source covered up is not the natural environment. It's demonic. The light source remaining over me all day long, not the natural environment. It's demonic. Also speaking to that same analysis, that same conclusion is reached where you are looking at the evidence showing what is the specific environment in an entirely different region, such as the Upland Public Library. During and outside of daylight savings time, there is no reconciling the natural environment and this specific environment where criminal activity by a corrupt government is underway. And in California, you're recognizing it through stalking in helicopters. Okay. It is currently, again, 9:38 p.m. That's what I wanted to show you. The documentation that is captured long before I relocated to Los Angeles. Again, Officer Alvarado of the Upland Police Department, the Gowd Law Office around the corner from the Upland Police Department, the entirety of an entity that is documented, surrounded by evidence. The Rialto Police Department, I documented group stalking during this time of year, while in LA, because the entity wants to avoid that ongoing comparison, avoid me naming people literally by name, by courthouse. They want to avoid that. You're not avoiding prosecution. And each and all of those actors that I just documented I'm documenting while I'm stating them by name. Their prosecution is sure, they're already documented. So again, what are you getting at? You're recognizing the psychopath, the delusional psychopath. Okay. But like I said, that's the purpose for engaging in what is covering up the light source. None of this is the natural environment. None of it. Okay. It is currently 9:39 p.m. It's Sunday, May 19th, 2024. And this is P.O.C.